My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content.
All right, guys, welcome to Property Profits Podcast. I'm your host, Bryce Kaminsky, filling in for Dave DeBow. And have you ever wondered how a real estate investor went from flipping just 2 properties to a whopping 16 in just 2 years? Well, today, my guest, Matt Ramos from Connecticut, also expanding into Ohio. He's here to spill the beans behind his success and the rapid success secrets that it takes to get this business going. Matt, welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Yeah, man, Bryce, I appreciate you inviting me on. It's exciting to be here, and I'm pumped up to share the story of kind of where I came from and where we are today.
Yeah, so let's dig in. How did you get started in real estate? Some people end up accidentally in it, accidental landlords, and they decide, oh, I actually like this. Or was it a Rich Dad, Poor Dad book? What's the origin story?
Yeah, good question. So my father was born and raised in Cuba. He's a Cuban immigrant, and he came in here when he was 13. Today, he's 75 years old. He's still working, right? He came from extreme poverty, cement floors, and to pursuing the American dream. And, I always had food on my plate. I always had a warm shower. I always had a warm place to sleep my head at night. But he's still working at 75. And I thought to myself, is that really what life is about, right?
Yeah.
So I started researching, how do people get wealthy? How do people accumulate wealth? And 90% of millionaires make it through real estate, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That kind of started me on my path. And from there, it was medical device sales for quite some time. I was making decent money, but it just wasn't cutting it for me, man. So I bought my first property about 3.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And the pandemic hit. And as you know, as everybody knows in the world, right, it really shut things down. I wasn't getting paid. So I had to kind of make a pivot and make a life-changing move at the time. I had negative $300 in my bank account. And I remember calling my boss up, telling him, I gave my 2-week notice, and, I went full steam ahead, became a real estate agent with the sole purpose of understanding buying, selling, contract negotiation, executing a PSA, what's an inspection, immerse myself in a market so that when it comes time to invest, I know exactly what I'm talking about. And over the past 1.5 years, 2 years, made that full transition from an agent to an investor.
Yeah. So you started as a real estate agent then?
Yeah. I knew I didn't want to. Being a real estate agent is not what I was passionate about, right? I wanted to become a real estate investor. But in order to become a real estate investor, you need to understand the craft that you're looking to achieve, right? And
the end product. Yeah.
Exactly, the end product. And it's almost like a paid internship, right? I have bills to pay. I have student loans that I have to pay off. So I looked at it as a paid internship, consumed as much information as possible, applied that information, immersed myself in a market to where I created the relationships that helped me bridge the gap from the agent to an investor, and took that leap of faith about 1.5 years ago. And it's been a wild ride, man.
So tell me about the first property. Did it go as you thought it would?
It was
That's a trick question for people listening at home.
Yeah.
It never goes as you think it's going to go.
It never does. So believe it or not, man, my first property, I bought a duplex. I paid a couple of VAs over in the Philippines. They were cold calling off market properties for me that I supplied the list for. And it was very rewarding. It was one of my most profitable deals. The second opportunity is where it got really ugly, right? I paid a contractor $40,000, and in 6 months he demoed, right? So
like you took the walls down or something,
knocking the walls down, something that should take a week, maybe 2 weeks, right? All that time you're paying interest because I took out a hard money loan, so I'm paying, a large lump sum of interest payments on a monthly basis. We didn't get that money back. We had to switch contractors. and it was a great learning lesson for me, but it was a tough pill to swallow. Having somebody walk away with $40,000 and stuck with this property. But
Mm-hmm.
we made a transition. Luckily, we're in a market that's appreciating like crazy. We have the hub of the world, New York City, that's really anchoring Connecticut market specifically. And luckily, properties were still appreciating. We were able to walk out with about $5,000 profit on that, believe it or not. But man, what a scare that was. It's like, do I
Yeah,
really want
that's
to
the
do this?
whole everyone's a genius in an up market. You can do some stuff that doesn't pan out and still make it out alive.
Right,
But
right.
had the market, had the market, turned like most markets down 10 points, you might have been licking your wounds into the next deal. So since then, obviously you have a tighter contracting vetting system, and we all learn a lesson that we don't want to play again. So is that really where did the scale come in? Because we're talking about going from 2 to 16 in 18 months. How did you scale the business to where it is today?
So it's a great question. The easy way to put it is OPM, right? Other people's money. So we
Yeah.
want to be able to provide a vehicle for people to get involved in real estate. Investing in real estate isn't something that you can do just work your W-2 job and then invest on the side, right? It's a full-time job, especially if you
Mhm.
want to fix and flip. You're forcefully appreciating properties,
Yeah.
or you're holding on these properties, and you have a decent portfolio. It takes a lot to manage the assets. Um, so the vehicle that we provided is fix and flips. It's what we know. We took the punches. We used our own money the first 4 or 5. Once we
Hmm.
felt like we had a good system in place, and the system is essentially people undervalue what you can do with on-market properties, right? We
Yeah.
submit 25 offers weekly. We follow up with all 25 offers on a weekly or biweekly basis. And that's where a lot of the properties that we get under contract and close on are from is all is on market. I don't want to say all on market because we do have an off market system, but we take a systematic approach. We have pre-designed templates for all of our flips. We have scope of work that we typically do in most of the flips that we do. And taking that systematic approach, raising capital, providing a vehicle for other people to get involved in real estate, but don't have the time, the resources. They might be working
Hmm.
a high-paying W-2 job.
Yeah.
Um, we provide that vehicle through our group and fix and flipping properties here in Connecticut.
So what's the future look? What does the future look like from going from where you are here today? What do you expect the business to look like, say, a year from now?
So we're in the process of starting a fund. That fund it's going to be more of like a year term. The idea here was about a year ago, I bought a $40,000 mentorship program for multifamily real estate, right?
Yeah.
Got a lot of value out of it, but it's value add syndicators, right? So basically what a syndication is you arrange all the pieces in the puzzle to be able to buy an apartment complex, and you don't use any of your money out of pocket,
Hmm.
right? Some syndicators do put in some equity.
Yeah, they're just
Um,
participating as part of the syndication, though.
exactly. So for us, we were like, all right, let's take a hybrid syndication model approach and do it in single family fix and flip. And we did that. We implemented that. The next chapter is going to be multifamily. So right now, I mentioned Ohio. So I just bought 2 properties up in Ohio, and we're walking a 42 unit, a 10 unit, and another 28 unit that we have. I don't want to say under contract, but that we're negotiating with the sellers, and we have contractors up there that are trusted, reliable. And that's going to be the next chapter, which I'm really looking forward to. Because the problem with fix and flip is there's a lot. It's highly active. It's highly active income, right? You're putting so
Mhm.
much effort into forcefully appreciating these properties, then you get a nice equity exit. Whereas apartments, as you know, it's consistent cash flow, right? You're not breaking the bank or breaking your back to flip these
And the
properties.
things when you're doing fix and flips, you're chasing new contract, new contract, new contract, new contract. Whereas in the multifamily game, you only really have to play the new contract game maybe 4, 5 times a year. But a lot of work does take a lot longer. People listening at home thinking that they're just going to jump into multifamily. Be prepared for your deal. Underwriting, the contracting could take you the better part of 6 months to close a deal. You can't
Or
close in 6 weeks like a single family.
for sure. And on top of it, if you're looking at value add multifamily, you're not going to be getting the returns the first 6 months, right? You're going to be getting the returns year two. You might get a 2%, 3%, 4% cash on cash return year one. And then year 2, 3, and 4 is where you really make some of your money, because you're forcefully appreciating. You're bringing up, there's a loss to lease there. You're bringing up
Stabilized,
rents.
yeah.
You're stabilizing the asset. And the idea with fix and flip is, okay, like, how can we, the problem with multifamily syndication value add is that first year investors aren't really making that hefty of a return, right? Unless there's a pref
No, they
involved.
got to be looking at long-term plays. You got to have long-term mindset people that you're partnering with. If you want quick money, go invest it in some flips. Like, that's the purpose of it, to bootstrap the business, to get started. But if you stay in flipping your whole career, you're gonna look 60 and be 35, because
Yeah.
it'll gray you out, man. Like, when I started real estate, I'm only been in the game like 10 years, and I looked like I was 16, and now I'm approaching 30. So the business of fix and flip will wear you out. So you do have to find an exit, because treadmills like wholesaling, treadmills like fix and flip, um, you're only as good as your last deal. And so if you're cool with that, and you like that business, and you like that active business, maybe be a realtor, because that's all they do. That's another treadmill business. If you want out, it's through buy and hold, it's through multifamily, commercial, bigger pieces, slower movements, more future pacing, and I think um, you're in the right market. Ohio's got a lot of big apartments for not a lot of money. I remember looking at one, like 29 units, 1.1 million. It was overpriced. Should have been 750 or something.
I mean, you're buying at like 40 to, if it's value add, 40 to 50 a door, right? In
Yeah.
Connecticut, you're buying at 180 to 200 a door, depending on the market. Out in Texas, you're probably at like 140 to 150, depending on the class of the property. Ohio's a
And I
cash
mean,
flow state.
yeah, and that's what it is. Are you going in for cash flow, or are you going for appreciation? Because your Connecticut apartment block, as painful as it is to carry, will maybe double in 5 years, whereas your Cleveland apartment block, it's going to make you cash flow. The Section 8 people are going to get their money, and they're just going to your bank account. However, that $1.1 million apartment block in 5 years or 10 years, maybe it's worth 2, maybe it's worth 1.7. You're not going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe it. No, you're going to be like, I believe it. You got your cash flow, right? Okay, cool.
Right. It's a cash on cash return state, right? You're not betting on natural appreciation of the market. Whereas like in Texas or in Florida, you're betting on market appreciation, but you're hoping for a decent cash flow in the same process. Cleveland is cash flow heavy. If you want cash today, you want cash fast. That's the market that you want to be in. And I mean, even in Connecticut, I mean, we're buying single family homes. Our average purchase price is about $350,000. Up in Cleveland, I bought one for 25, and I'm putting 30 into it.
I
Right.
remember I was actually in that market before the pandemic, 2019. We were down there fixing a house. I think we paid like 12 for the house, and we were going to fix it and refi it for like 45 or something. And we were going to get like 12.50 a month rent.
Yeah.
And you can find them everywhere.
It's
The
insane.
guy, the guy calls me over. He's like, "Hey," because I'm like, "What's the deal with the neighbor's house? Looks just as bad." And I see him poking around. I'm like, "Hey, what's the deal with this house?" He's like, "Oh, I want to sell it." I'm like, "Sure, I'll take a look." Walking around, the furnace, I guess, caught fire, burned the bottom, like the main floor. Charred it, and it's not bad. And he's like, I don't know, 5 grand. And I'm like, too much, man. Like, you can't even give me this thing. Like, there's more work in fixing this than it's ever going to be worth. So you might as well just let the city take it, knock it down, put in the grass field that they do when they take them over. So lots
Yeah.
of cash flow. I remember seeing cap rates at like 45%, like paying off the building in 2 years. Like, rent is not in proportion to the purchase prices. Still, to this day, the purchase price is low and the rent is on market with every other area in Ohio. Like, even though the price is low, the rent is high.
And just to give your audience an idea of what you're talking about in turn,
Maybe we don't tell them too much. We don't want to
I
oversaturate.
know, right? I know, right? Well, there's another issue which I'll follow with this statement.
them.
So a duplex, let's say, a duplex I just bought for $50,000. We're putting in about 50 grand worth of work, and It's a four bed, two bath, so it's a two on each unit. We'll
Mhm.
be getting around $1,300, 1,250 in rent per unit, right? In
Yep.
Connecticut, in Bridgeport, which is like a C minus area, you're buying for around 275 to 350. That's something that's beat up.
Needs
You're
work.
forcefully
Yep.
appreciating, but you're only accomplishing $1,500 per unit, right? So it's triple the price, if not quadruple the price, but the rent is only, 25% higher in Connecticut than it is in Ohio. So your dollar goes so much further out there.
Well, and I like too, the Cleveland duplex inventory is purpose built. They've got the rear column exit so you can actually go up the back stairs.
Yep.
Everyone has access to the shared basement. The
Right.
units are like purpose built 1910, but needs work up the whole damn the whole damn thing needs work up
Yeah,
and
and it's
down.
all gas. There's no oil tanks out there that you got to worry
No,
about.
you got to and people use the weirdest thing for me was I'm from Manitoba, Winnipeg, Manitoba. We're very hydro dependent uh, province, and our furnaces in some case are electric. Our baseboards are electric. Our stoves are electric. And when I was in Cleveland, everyone was always dragging their stove from place to place. I'm like, why is that? Oh, because they're just essentially barbecues. Like these things are gas fitted, gas, everything, gas. It's all gas running everything. So
Yeah,
that was a
yeah.
little bit different to see, but certainly if things haven't changed much, and when I was there, it was nuts. Like what you could get for rent and what we could get these things for. And the other thing that's the underlying bonus of investing with someone like you in Ohio is you can get the labor really well done down too, because people, I remember I was getting carpet installed for 83 cents a square foot. So installed and they take the old stuff out and it was good carpet. We were doing the whole 1,000 square feet for like $800. And I
It's
can't even get half the carpet for what it is. We're at like 450, $5 a square foot here because the carpet's at least 250 and the
yeah,
guy's at least 250 to put it in. I'm
yeah.
paying $5. So it's going to cost me like 5 grand to carpet a house. In Cleveland, it's $800.
That's mind blowing. Yeah, and like the 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 way I ended in Cleveland is pretty unique. We used to work with a contractor here in Connecticut, and he ended up moving to Cleveland. And then, about 8 months ago, he contacted me, said, "Matt, you should really look out here."
Mhm.
And I think that's what I'm noticing more and more when I'm talking to commercial brokers and just residential agents and wholesalers out there is there's tons of out of state investors, right? I mean, everybody wants a piece of Cleveland. The problem is they don't have the relationships in order to make the business plan and execute the business plan, right?
Well, it's not even that too. It's like it is that exactly. You have to have boots on the ground in Cleveland. It's not a market where you can like armchair invest. It's a tough trench warfare business in there. It can be block to block. If you buy on the wrong block, you lost. It's not
It's
red, it's black. You lost, and the casino
right.
takes your money.
100%. And also there's markets in Cleveland where there's POS, which essentially ties up your funds in escrow, which can slow the process. And if you're not underwriting that accordingly, well, the interest that you're paying on whatever debt you're taking out is going to really eat up at the equity, depending on if you're planning on exiting or a refinance. Like that's going to extend the hold period, which is why you need contractors that know what POS is. You
The
need
other thing, county to county, it changes how they want you to build and permit. And,
right.
like sometimes we wouldn't even invest in this part of Cleveland because it was just such a headache.
Yep.
Don't even bother. But over here in Cleveland Major or Garfield Heights, I go for it.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, same concept. It's you're one relationship away from bridging the gap from where you are today to where you want to be tomorrow, right? So I would advise anybody listening to this podcast, whether it's me or another guest that you have on, reach out. Like we want to, even if you don't invest with me, I want to educate you. I want to inform you. I want to be able to provide a vehicle or at least give you an understanding of what real estate can really do for you.
Yeah. And I'm a big proponent. I also love Cleveland. They did a great job of renovating the core, the downtown. when they took all those factories and made condos. You know, like it's a great city. If you're an investor and you're not liking your market, there's lots of property to go around. You know, they're knocking them down. There's property everywhere. But one thing I always say about Cleveland, and maybe you can speak to this, is there are so many opportunities property wise that you don't have to bite off big, ugly things. The less you do, the faster you get back to cash flow. That's what you should be looking at. Don't get like excited about how much you can put into this property. That's not the game in Cleveland. The game is how much can I put $3,200 into this thing, paint a few rooms and change the countertop and get a tenant in there. That's the game in Cleveland, at least what I saw. What do you think?
Yeah, I think wherever you are, remove emotion out of it because everybody wants a beautiful, attractive product. But what if you can make a above average product and achieve the same in rents or a little bit less, but you're mitigating the capital expenditure that you're injecting into the asset? I mean, your cash on cash return is therefore going to go up, right? So strictly business, look at what the comps are in the area and just try to mimic what's in the area, right? Don't try to go balls to the wall and inject 100 200 grand to the property. Like base it off of what the market's showing, right? by
And
by
that's
data
a
and by objective pictures of what you can see that's accessible on the internet.
because it goes back and forth, like for people who are looking to invest with you and play and spend time in the market with you. um they have to know that we're not trying to make the nicest thing. Like when you see what other people are renting in, because we used to have people move out of the neighboring house into our new freshened rental, and then we would buy that one, and it'd be like, you guys were paying like 750 for this, and it's just like worn right out. And we don't have to go that far to freshen up and give them a way better rental for maybe $200 more, and they're super happy. Section 8 is super happy to pay it. There's lots of opportunity for tenants. There's lots of good jobs. Amazon just moved a couple factories into like warehouses into the area. um it's a melting pot for profit, and people, if you're not doing it, um it might be too late. It might be too late if you wait too long, because American markets do cycle, right? And there's going to be a point where um all these properties that you're holding are going to max out in appreciation. It's going to happen. There's might be 5 years, but get in there. So is your being that Connecticut is less profitable, let's say less profitable immediately, are you putting all of your focus on Cleveland then and markets similar to that?
No, we're doubling down in Connecticut. We have a system that works. We have the relationships in place. Outside of relationships with like real estate agents, contractors, inspectors, but it's also like with town officials that can help move the process along with permitting, things like that. Connecticut's a really solid market. It's anchored by New York City, as I mentioned before. Its interest rates, although they came down, they're stable now. We've seen on 3 of our properties that we currently have listed, we've had accumulated probably 20 to 25 offers, which is a great problem to have, right? We're just looking to expand the system that we already have in place with trusted people in different markets, and one of those markets is Cleveland and Akron, Ohio.
Yeah. Yeah, Akron too. Like, and there's the list can go on. America has an amazing real estate. We're you're blessed to be doing real estate in America. If you're from Canada, there's ways to invest in the United States. So don't feel like you can't. It's just um I have a mentor who says can't is bad communication. Can't really means either I don't want to or don't know how. So it's usually I can't invest in the United States really means I don't know how. So figure it out. Reach out to a guy like Matt here, and he can probably help you navigate that process with your capital. So when we're looking at that sort of thing, are you a find the deal and then the money, or do you prefer to have like the capital lined up and then go looking for deals?
Yeah, that's a good question. A buddy of mine described entrepreneurship like jumping off a cliff and building the plane on the way down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we do. given we continuously raise capital, we continuously have deal flow, so we have the ability to deploy capital at any given time. It's jumping off the cliff and building the plane on the way down. There's never going to be a right time to invest in real estate. There's never going to be a right time to have a kid. But you know what? When you have a kid, you figure it out, right?
Mhm.
It's the same concept. I mean, I literally just had a kid and I'm figuring it out as we speak, right? So,
Are you going through
it's been,
sleep regression yet?
oh my gosh, yeah. So he's a year old and
Figuring it out, figured it out, figuring it out. Now I got to figure it out, figuring it out.
I thought it gets like, once you get the sleep consistently for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks,
that's when it changes.
Yeah. But that's also real estate, right? Yeah. That's also real estate, Bryce. You run into issues often. That's why it's a full-time job. If somebody thinks that they can invest in real estate and do it all themselves, hats off to them. I can't even do it myself. I have business partners, right? Yeah, and it's essential to have business partners that fulfill the weaknesses that you may have in real estate or whatever it may be, right? And it's worked out to our benefit.
Yeah. Well, you got if he's one, you said he's 1 year old.
One, yeah.
Just like real estate, you got a lot to learn, man. Mine's about to turn 4, so.
Oh, that's awesome. You have one?
Yeah. I've got an older one. She's about to turn 18, so there's a huge gap in there. But the reality is that you never know, and then you Google it and you figure it out.
That's it, man. That's it.
So if people want to connect with you guys and want to put their money, get it deployed out in Cleveland, or really just pick your brain on the whole Ohio thing, how do they find you? What should they do?
Yeah, so my Instagram handle, which is my name here, it's real estate _Ramos. I have a calendar link in my bio. You can just schedule a call that way. Or you can find me on Facebook, Matt Ramos, MattrAmos. Message me. Even if it's learn about the process, learn about the system, see how, if you want to do it yourself, hats off to you. I'll share my underwriting sheet. I'll share my system with you, right? I want to help people kind of get out of that rat race, whether it's with me or, doing it yourself. I'm here to help.
Me or against me in the market, whatever. There's lots of property to go around, people. There's
just know I'm competitive, guys, audience members. I'm very competitive. I'm an athlete through and through.
Well, there's more than one house in Cleveland to buy.
Absolutely.
Last time I checked, there was a few just kicking around. So
absolutely.
Well, Matt, I really appreciate you stopping by, and until next time, guys, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Awesome. Thanks, Bryce.
Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.